Okay. All right. So this is me. This is my first video. This is James Summers, James H. Summers. I write psychological horror fiction, and I have here with me Kim. She's going to be interviewing me and asking me some very good pertinent questions. So I'll turn it over to Kim.
What exactly is psychological horror, and how is it different from typical horror stories with monsters or gore?
Psychological horror is what I enjoy the most. It's sometimes the mystery that's in the background that is a little bit more challenging than actually seeing somebody running through uh, the forest to get you, or a monster coming down the hallway. That's scary too. Psychological horror is actually what takes place more inside of a person. It doesn't have to always be caused by a person, but takes place, and you actually, it's what you see, it's what you feel. It's something that scares me. It's probably not going to scare or bother you. So psychological horror is pretty intimate. It's unique.
What inspired you to start writing horror in the first place?
Movies, the worst kind of movies, the B movies, really, the ones that are uh, not really good video, not good audio, fun to watch, more of a hey, did you see this? Then I had to watch it. Just seeing those movies, seeing something that I would like to do a little bit differently, and then also seeing something that's not there, something that I actually want to do, that not that it hasn't been done before, but that I wanted to do.
So, in a sense, something that you said earlier is psychological horror is almost the horror of the imagination gone wild. The imagination and the horror between your ears and your dreams at night.
Yes, your mind. Yes, definitely. So another way to look at that is when I first started writing in high school, um, maybe even a little bit as I started to branch out here, I would actually go into the detail and describe, and it's almost like watching a trailer for a movie, to the point to where the trailer reveals so much that you really, you kind of know what you're getting into. So then you're looking at the way it was made, the way it was configured and done. A lot of description. So the way I thought, as I progressed in writing, and as far as going down that little road, I thought it was more scary just to say that there's noises coming behind a locked door. Something's behind the locked door, kind of telling you what you hear, what you feel from uh, the door, describing more of the door, the noise, and then what bothers you, not necessarily going to bother the next person. So if I was to tell you there's a huge spider coming out of that door, the minute you open it and it's pushing forward and coming in, it's too late, you've already let it in. That is going to be terrifying for you if you're scared of spiders. But me, not really scared of spiders. I'm like, oh damn, too bad it's not a hamster or somebody with an axe. So by not describing what is actually in the room, leaving it up to your imagination, that is, I think, the benefit of what I do. What I strive to do is show you the doors, bring you to the door, and then before I release what's behind the door, have that build up. And so, therefore, I don't turn off a lot of people that aren't scared about spiders. They'll go read somebody else. They actually want to know what's going to happen.
Good points. I found one phrase intriguing. What do you mean by monsters always start human?
Okay. Um, I think the most scariest of situations, the happenings, occurrences, what bothers me the most is inside people. Not just because I know that dragons aren't real, they may be real somewhere. Uh, Other types of monsters, demons, sure as hell believe in those. Not gonna push those buttons right now. Uh, but as far as answering the question, everybody has darkness. Everyone has bad thoughts. Everybody has feelings. Unfortunately, some people are. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the types of people they are, but they're going to be more expressive, and they have maybe their filters aren't gone. And it's not because they're older. When you get older, filters be damned. That's great. I think you've earned it, right? A lot of people speak before they think. So in your head, a lot of people will, be driving down the road. Somebody will cut you off, and you'll cuss them. You'll call them a name. Maybe something that people since high school haven't heard you say. Maybe you think, God, I wish they were dead, or oh, stupid, or maybe you're even more vocal, more angry. So it's inside you, and it's okay to have those kind of thoughts and feelings, right? Where we have minds, everyone's mind is different. There's just no way they're going to be the same. But when you act on that, when you go ahead and actually pull over, when you reach for your glove box and grab your carry-on, the kind that you can't necessarily take on a plane, that kind of stuff. To act on that is not really acceptable. And that's where morality, a lot of psych professionals here have terms and everything for this. I'm not really going to go into describing all of that right now. But it's okay to have those feelings. We all do. But when you act on them. So the way I take it is when you're going to the store, when you're going to pay a bill, when you're going to go to a movie, or just take somebody to or from school, or pick somebody up, or just check your mail. Say you ran out of milk. Anything specific. Specific distracts. Anything that if you're going to the store, you might be more apt to look around and be wary of things. When you're going for a thing of milk because you need cookies, or when you need spray cream for your coffee, the way I enjoy my coffee. If you're out, that's your focus. It's a distraction. I like to think and focus on things that can happen when you're going for that spray, when you're going for your milk, when you need a cup of flour and your neighbors aren't home. That's a distraction. So I like to go ahead and have fun with that. I sometimes think of it's not the glass half empty or the glass is half full. I'm pretty positive. Sometimes I positively feel that something's going to happen or whatnot. I'm more of a glass is half dark. It's there, right? So you're going to the store. You can probably think of 3 bad things that can happen. I can think of 12. So.
Can you describe a scene in your book that kind of incorporates that feeling that you're going about the routine days of your life and you encounter psychological horror?
I've done a couple of things like this. I've done to skew this a little bit, more of a do something good for somebody, get kicked down below kind of thing. So there are some stories that I've written. Breath Reality is one of them, where a girl is actually working with, just being pulled every single direction. She still has time to help friends out. One of her friends is busy. She's down on her luck. She needs a new job. She has really bad self-esteem issues. And this person, her character's name is Summer, she's great. I mean, she has a great heart. She's really soft. She sees an opportunity to help her friend out. She, sets her up, does the normal things maybe normal people that have that chance can do. Maybe let her borrow some money, never expecting to get it back. Maybe taking her out to a movie, picking up some groceries because she's already there, that kind of stuff. She goes a step further and has a chance to sign this girl up for a self-esteem course. She's going to pay for it. I'm going to go ahead and just set her up. I'm going to get it. I'm going to fill all her information in, all the information, whatever. And she does all this. In the act of that happening, her going out of her way to help her friend out, things escalate, stuff that normal people wouldn't see. You wouldn't think that would happen. It is not just you have to be careful when you use your credit card or when you lock your car, the time that you go fuel up for gas in certain areas of the country. It's none of that. That's common sense. You should do that. It's the time that I impact change is when you're going for gas during the middle of the day and somebody sees an opportunity. They think they can do something. They see a chance and they may take that. Well, this person actually interacts with Summer. She goes back to her friend. She hasn't heard from her friend for a while. Wants to go speak and talk to her, catch up, see if she needs anything. She's not there, and that's kind of where that book takes a dark turn. After somebody wanted to help somebody, saw a need, and then the things that happen in the background. Those are the things that I'll throw your direction if you're going to check out my books.
The next series of books, First Responder, deals a lot with vampires.
Yeah.
And vampires have been in literature since 1897 when Bram Stoker published Dracula. How do your novels bring a fresh twist to an old story?
Vampires are very diverse. There's very diverse. I love the classical, the romantic kind of everything. I like the darkness, the atmosphere. If you think about that stuff, you can have those things when you're not working with the vampire. I could write those things in, and I have, with different stories, different characters. First Responder is I wrote that a long time ago. It is actually a different type of a vampire. He has some classical tendencies, but he's also more modern. There are hundreds of different types and takes on vampires, and lots of different types of Draculas as well. But as far as mine goes, it's a little bit more modern of a tale. I kind of stretch the boundaries a little bit. Some people that like the strict can't cross water, can turn into mist, cannot turn into mist, stakes through the heart, sunlight weakens or wounds, sometimes some sunlight destroys. There's a lot of different things. The way I take it is it's going to be that way until I show you that it's not. My vampire sips coffee. He likes the taste. He loves to hold the coffee more than anything, but he sips it. Does he drink it? No. Does he play with his food, alive and dead? Yes, he plays with his food, alive and dead. But as far as the way I treat it, he is the first responder. So he's working in a nighttime hospital clinic. He is actually working with eating disorders, helps patients. He really cares for his patients. He doesn't eat and kill and feed where he works, where he stays. So he works a job 3 days a week. They're actually technically nights, right? But those are his hours, his schedule. So he works. He monitors police scanners. He's kind of modern in some ways, other ways he's not. He knows what a video camera is. He doesn't have a cell phone at this point, starting off. Finds one later, several actually. But he actually embraces technology just to the point to where he needs to. So he'll hear that there is an accident, an ambulance requested. First responder takes place in California, kind of a rural area where the large curvy roads. There's an area out there that I focus on, and a lot of accidents happen. It's a common kind of occurrence. EMTs know it too well. So he intercepts, he gets the message, he takes off, he goes. He actually shows up first before the first responder does. He is the first responder. He is not a first responder. So although there are medical terms, the process, hospitals, EMS, fire, police, of course, they're all involved at different times through the books. But as far as that goes, he goes there. So you're going down at night, you're taking it too tight, you're turning left, turning right, maybe you've been drinking, maybe not. The roads are bad regardless. You're off the road, you're sliding, you hit a tree, it tumbles over, your car wrecks, you're crawling out, slow form, crawling, you make it out, it's dramatic, your car catches on fire, you're safe, you made it, you call 911, you're crawling further away, you're recovering, you're resting, you're waiting for help. Someone's going to come, you called 911, you called for help. the first person that shows up is Dr. Stevens. Dr. Stevens is not necessarily there to help. He will take you, he'll feed on you, he'll throw you back in the car, and you'll end your time in his arms, his embrace. My vampires still drink blood. It's not where they get jittery if they have too little or too much, but they need it. So yes, that's what he's there for. So he throws you back in, and he's out of there. He's gone. Sometimes the first responders, the only person that know he's there is him, and the person that's no longer around. It's been pretty good about witnesses and not leaving any, or at least so he knows, so he thinks. So that's how this all comes into play. So as the story progresses, I'll have other videos to talk more on that. But just getting back to the question, and I really appreciate the question. That really helped me touch on this. But basically, he is a first responder showing up, feeding, throwing the person back inside. They don't survive, and he carries on with his work, goes back to work. If he's off, great. If he's not working, great. Whatever, he's doing his own thing. He still has things that he does. Sometimes he's interrupted from his night because he's going to get that call, and if he needs to feed, he's going to go. But he's going to come back, and it's a pretty good ruse. It's a pretty good gig he's got. He likes it.
In many horror films today, horror and humor goes hand in hand. And one of the conflicts for the vampire is immortality. And can you describe any scenarios in your books where your hero has come up with that culture conflict of living through the ages and having to adapt in outliving and outsmarting other characters in the book through this concept of immortality?
Okay, so that really does, that's a good point. That's a strong point. It really does make sense. So in my books, First Responder is actually book 1. There are 4 books total. Books 2 and 3 are waiting to be published. Book 4 is just about finished as far as ready for the friends to start reading it and kind of tearing through it a little bit. But as far as that goes, yes, he's been around for a while. As far as the history goes, there are people that know him briefly. He has colleagues and peers he works with. He's well liked. He's not from what people know, he's a person, and he's not a bad person at that. So he's doing his thing, going through. Now there are others as you progress that you will see that they know him. Some know him as a different name of who he was before, and that's where I'm touching with this. That's where I'm going, is the fact that he has been multiple people during different times, and I will play with that and go back a little bit of foreshadowing, a little bit of history as it's needed, and even go forward with that as it needs to. Just because you know him or her, doesn't mean that it's a good relationship. It doesn't mean that he's on the lam. He's got a job. He has a schedule. So he shows up. He's part of society, but it's his brand, his flavor of society. It's on his terms. So yes, there are some that he knows. There was a TV show, there still is, a TV show that I've watched recently, fairly new. It's in the 5th season this year, I think. And I won't mention any names on that, but as it goes, there's one guy, and everyone's always trying to figure out how old he is. He makes these subtle hints and clues, but he keeps it, close to his chest. Doesn't tell anybody. And the thing is, we think he's been around for over 100 years. It's not really possible, but I don't think that we have centenarians with us as it goes, right? As it is now. But I mean, he still look like he's pretty much in his prime. He doesn't look old. He looks, spry. He's able to do things. So yes. One of the things he says is he makes a comment about every time I bury a wife from my assisted living homes. I mean, that is funny. Yes, you don't have to be necessarily old to be in an assisted living home, right? But he made the point to say wives several every time I do it. So yes, Dr. Stevens is lonely. It's funny that you kind of mentioned that, because as it starts, one of the conversation points, the plot twists, is actually, won't give too many of these, but he actually meets somebody, and of all places, in an overnight diner, a place that's open almost the whole time, right, day and night. It's convenient for him. He likes to people watch. He likes to hold the hot, warm coffee. Tea, water would probably do just as good for him, but he actually does smell. Scent. He likes coffee. I like coffee. I think he likes coffee more than I do, if that's possible. But so yeah, he meets somebody there, and he's lonely. He's met several people. He doesn't, at this point, nothing is told about who he's buried. I know there's been lots of TV shows and movies that have gone through with the loss of a person, a couple, somebody dying from a disease or an abrupt termination, if you will, accident, car wreck, something like that, taken way before they should have. And how that person copes, what they do, if they unravel, if they do things they've always wanted to do, if they feel freedom, if they feel lost. Those are all valid points. He's lost. He's got a job. Doesn't have anybody in his life, as I like to say. So yes, that is an important factor. As far as the humor part, there's nothing really more humorous than seeing something done a certain way and having seen that done multiple different times, either the same way, insanity, or different ways. So yes, his humor is kind of dry. It's not necessarily a short fuse, but it's more to the point to where it humors him, and he will laugh. He will enjoy what he's allowed to enjoy, but mainly from experience. So jokes, comedy, he doesn't like as much, as weird as this might seem. He actually does not like to watch movies. He likes to see the shows live. He has seen several long-time shows that started off, maybe even before the 60s. Particularly, he's really fond of one in the 70s that he's seen multiple times. He'll make a point to visit that city when that show transfers, when it goes from New York to Chicago to Louisville. He'll do that. So yeah, humorous for him is not the same as us. I haven't written a comedy yet. Nothing campy, and almost romance is almost in every single thing that I do, whether it's tragic, or a suitcase, a burden, or it's just flighty. So, but humor is definitely different for him than it is for us.
Building on characterization, have you ever based a character on a real person, and would that person recognize themselves in your writings?
Okay. There's disclaimers in all the books, and they're always have a different flavor or a take on, basically, this is not you. It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. But I actually wrote a book. It's one of my newer ones, called They Heinous, and that'll be a topic for several more videos down the road. But there is a person in there, and his name is a take on one of my friends. So, for example, it might be Jane. It might be my friend's name, and that person's name might be Janet, or Janie, or something down that line. But if that person was to read, their mannerisms, some of that stuff, they could probably find that they could relate to that. I have done pretty good research for my books. I've done some research where I'll actually go and just look and people watch, see what I like, what interests me, what's different, what stands out. And there are also from I wouldn't say architectural, but I would say social, like out in public, a shopping center, a place where you might get something to eat. Those are good things too that I like to just go in public, and I, like Dr. Stevens, I like to people watch as well. So yes, there are a couple friends that might have some similarities, but no, not very 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 loosely based. Just more so to the point of, hey, that I do something the same way, or that's the same way that I like my coffee. Something small, but yeah, I could touch and say that I would never. My friend probably knows, but he's never mentioned it. It's a guy, and I've never mentioned it to him either. So pretty interesting.
What do you want your readers to feel after reading your books?
Okay. Well, not just triggered. That's the word. Unfortunate. Triggered is to me, I treat that as affected or impacted. For example, going back to my spider reference, that may be triggering for some people. As weird as this sounds, the type of horror that I write, that's what I enjoy. I love to watch. I love to see it because I don't really think. With me writing, I know it's not real. It's not a real person, right? I try to strive for those real emotions, though. When I'm watching medical shows, I can't do it. I can't. When someone does something simple as a tummy tuck or a facelift, it's a person. That's a real person. So as weird as that sounds, my take, the way my writing happens, I describe stuff with impunity and to the point and extent that I know that I'm not describing something that's going to hurt anybody. It's something that happened. It's a character. Some of my characters, they're quite pissed at me. Some of them get they get that extra length. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. I have books that are written almost completely female, as far as self-esteem, as far as the male characters they're not weighed. They're there for background. They're literally to support someone else. And so as far as all that goes, triggered. One of the reviews I had, one of my books online says, I tried to read this. The scene was very powerful, and I think she even used the word triggering, but it was to the point to where she apologized. She's like, "I'm sorry, I can't read this. It's too personal. It strikes too close to." She didn't say heart, but her mind. It bothered her. Something she had experienced. I have never experienced a like a burn. I have one book in particular that I go into how it feels from what I've been able to talk to people, to look at some medical shows. Those are very hard for me to watch. And still, I don't know if I can ever do it justice, because unless you've gone through that, you're really not going to know how close I got. But having said that, that is where writing is interesting and fun to me, because when I describe something, if you haven't experienced that, you're either going to call bull, you're going to say, wow, I never thought about that, or it could be, I don't know, or hey, wow. That's it. Simple word. But if you've experienced that, and when I describe it, that's why a lot of people will say, I've been there, I've done that. It's not the same, or hey, you did pretty good on that, or hey, I'm sorry you experienced that. I'm like, I didn't. And they're like, well, I read that. It looks like you did experience that. And that's what I like. But getting back to the triggering part, I like for you to leave with more than you came with. I want you to think about it. I want you to be bothered. I want you not want to just take my book and finish it in a couple of days. I want you to go back and get to a part and put it down. And to me, I'm the reason why you stopped reading. It's okay to stop reading and to pick it back up, to continue that. Not all triggering is bad, I have a lot of good. It's a lot of emotional heartstrings. It's not soupy, and the romance is not comedy. Romance is hard. It's more like Romeo and Juliet to an extent. More, and that's just an example most people would know. I'm not comparing myself to that, or I don't go to any kind of model down that road. But it's something is, it's just completely different. Yeah, triggering is hard for me to kind of talk about, but because there's so many things that I don't have a checklist. I don't have a certain amount of things that I want a certain book to make somebody feel. I'll start writing. I'll look at my notes, and if something changes, I'm going for a rewrite. I'm going to go back and put something in. If I think a character should act different because I changed what happened when they went to the grocery store, or what happened when they think back about high school, when they were taking their car to the football game. If I changed something that I was set, that I was moving forward in that direction, I'll go back and change that. I'm not above, writing it out, or having somebody come in through a left door and leave through the right. And we're not going to shoot that scene again. I'm not going to write those pages again. I'm just gonna leave it. Not going to have stuff like that. The continuity is something I really stress and I really try for. But triggering, again, there's no checklist. Some things impact more. Some are more closer, more dear to you. But no, there's not a checklist.
Which of your books would you recommend for someone to start with? And who would you consider your typical reader?
Wow. Okay, that's a good one. A lot of my friends that read my books and go through and test as far as like the chapters and help me with continuity and notice things when they're doing when they're going through those initial steps, the readings. Wow. Just from what I can tell, and from the analytics that I've been able to get, my reader is a woman from 18 to 38. That's the average person that reads my stories. Almost all of my stories are mature in thought and deed. Some are racy. Some are detailed, and all those aspects. So as far as the books go, I've talked to like 3 people that read frequently, and they have 3 different choices. I have a different choice, all unto them. I'm more of an individual kind of book, as far as I would say They Heinous, and that's my most recent one that I've written. They Heinous, I think, is the one that I enjoy the most. As far as what I think you should start with, you can go to the website, and we'll touch base on that later. Go to the website. You can read a little summary of the books. You can get as detailed as you want to. Some have been around for years. There are some spoilers out there. Some of those are turning into sequels now, so that is something I'm really excited about. But as far as the softies, my friends that are, I don't like horror, but I'll take a chance because of you. Everyone loves First Responder. They like the theme. They like the message. He doesn't feed. It's not a takeover of a town. It's not somebody's going through a graveyard, and there are graveyards and there are towns and that I hit on, touch on, but that's not the premise. They like the premise of the first responder showing up, and some people have came to me and they said, hey, he's not a bad guy. If the person coming out of their car is not going to make it, is it living if you're going to lose both of your legs, if you can't walk anymore? Everyone's physical health is very important. They Heinous, I touch on that. I have some feet issues that I deal with, so I have a little bit of a good foundation there of what I approach, and I know some of the feelings that I go through when I'm doing this, when I'm thinking of how somebody would feel. But a good place to start, first responder. I mean, it's a really good story. They're all really good stories, but first responder is good for maybe somebody that is not both feet through the door running to get into horror. They're gonna get there. First responder will get you there. It'll go to where it carries over to second chances. It'll go to where it carries over to hemoglobin insecure. You'll get there. Book 4 is not titled yet. It's something that you're going to have to see what works for you. Bereft Reality is most of my younger readers like Bereft Reality. It is a one of my books, which is almost completely women driven. It is about self-esteem. A very good message. Now I take that and I skew it. I'll twist it. There's good, there's bad, there's me. So I'm going to get you there. It's triggering. Bereft Reality is triggering, but a lot of the younger readers like it, and they seem to start there. And you know what? Vampires, I'm not going to say vampires are played out. I'm not. But there are lots of movies, and you could say comedy. Comedy's been around since before, the big S. I'm the little S. The big S. And the big S has also done drama, murders, incest, all sorts of stuff. So a lot of these things have been out there for a long time. Do people say comedy is dead? No, it's not. Vampires aren't either. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to take the wheel, take off just enough spokes to make it personal for what you like, the way you want your wheel to be, other than to function as a wheel, right? Some wheels will be gentler, some will be bumpier, but you're still going to get there. For the most part, it's a wheel. That's what it does. So yes, Bereft Reality is a good place for younger, I would say younger readers, maybe women in particular, self-esteem. And The Heinous is fairly new. The Heinous, it has a medical, a little bit of a medical background as far as how that twists. A good family book is actually Picking Murphys. Picking Murphys is about a family of 4 in Connecticut, and they make their way to California for a vacation. And that's a good kind of, has a younger daughter, younger son, and a mother and father, middle-aged. So that is a good place to go as well. I mean, there's lots of books I've written. There's many more coming. But those are the ones that people are, not necessarily what I like the best, but those are what people are wanting to get into.
In your books, do you consider your works more entertainment, or do you weave in some forms of social commentary?
Okay. Okay, so yes and no. Picking Murphys has a good and bad spirit. The bad spirit is up front, kind of where you'd expect the bad spirit to be. The good spirit, it's not always able to do the right thing. It's not always able to be there. It's kind of there to pick up the pieces and to make you not quit, to help you carry that cross, not to stop the cross from falling. That's a good religious kind of metaphor there. There is yes, a couple of my books have to where I go through, and it's not necessarily like the character has a background voice. It's not like you're listening to their conscience, but morality is in almost everything that I do to some extent. It may play more of a role in one story, more of a role than another with a character, as opposed to just a theme. But yes, that stuff is there. I have yet to write something that is, there's a couple movies and a couple books out there that are like strict, and that's the whole premise of what they're trying to do. Not going to say that that I actually do that, but I do have a lot of, as far as the way I write, the way the first person comes in and out sometimes. Okay, I'm very big with dream sequences. Some of my novels, more so than others. Picking Murphy's has a couple that I'd say are really spectacular. Um, One of the most scariest things of a horror movie that bothers me when I watch, that kind of gets to me, or I wouldn't say triggering, but that I really like, is when you wake up in a dream that's maybe a nightmare, then you wake up again in the nightmare, and you're like, holy shit, and you're trying to wrap your head around it. If you're reading it, great, you can go through and read it again. If you're watching a movie, back in my day, you'd rewind it on VHS. Now you can just skip back, right? You do what you need to, get where you need to go. But when you're experiencing it firsthand, when you only have that one take, and that initial feeling, and you wake up inside of a wake up, and then you've realized that, and then it happens again. Twice is bad enough. 3 times, it's hard to make that happen. I'm pretty good at that. I really enjoy figuring out ways to make that happen. So I don't really know, other than going down that road too much further, not to reveal anything else in this. This is more about how I write in general, and not a specific on anything that I may have written, but yeah, that's where I can stop with that. All right, you got one more question, then we'll wrap this up.
Why are you interested in adapting your work for film or television?
Adaptation. All right. Going back to those movies that I saw on TV and still see, I still love a lot of those, and I still love anything that comes out. There's no such thing as a bad review. There's not. I really enjoy it. So, yes, there are some things I would like to do differently, some things I would like to move and change, some stories I would like to tell. Adaptation is it's not necessarily a step to validity. There's authors that have lots and lots of books, and they don't have any. Maybe it wasn't around when it wasn't a thing. I know the way I write and what I get to do now is a lot more easier than now, than just paper and pencil. Now, Brief Reality was written all on paper and pencil, on camping trips, at work, in the break room, at home, and then transcribing it, typing it in, which was awful. But that actually something to be said with that. You know the material. You can catch things. You will catch things when you're the writer, when you're the author. You will see those things. You will be able to fix lots of issues. But for me, adaptation is getting my book to a bigger audience. I know lots of people that don't read nothing. I know people that read medical journals. They don't read anything for fun, for enjoyment. People don't watch movies. I have a friend. His TV and news comes from repeats and recordings. That's it. Nothing really modern, new, current, unless he hears somebody talking about it, and that's okay, right? So there's some people like to get their material and their content that way. But when that person comes to me and says, hey, with something or a problem or something that it's common simple for anybody that has a TV or anyone that actually talks to someone at a coffee shop or whatnot, that is different. Now, adaptation is for a way for me to do both. Am I in control? No. When one of my books goes, it'll maybe sending my kid off to college. You hope they do well. There's going to be influencers. No, they're going to have to make decisions on their own. People will be doing it for me. So my book won't look like necessarily the way I want it to be. It'll be someone else's flavor of the wheel. Someone else's way to get where I want you to go. So yes, adaptation is important, not because I want to see all my books into TV series or on film. Small screen would be ideal. I would really love that. But big screen, that's fine. I have a view. I have a vision of what I like, what I want. And if it takes someone else to get me there, that's great. But they're going to hear my story. It's going to be a little twisted. And you know what? You can't only wear so many hats. Independent authors like me, do my own videos, my whatever graphics I can do myself, whatever I can learn to do. Some things you still need to farm out. You need to get help. There are steps you need help to do. But adaptation for me is another way to get my story to a group of people who, if it was on book and print only, they wouldn't do it. Even audiobooks. No, that's coming down the road too.
Yeah. Where can we find your books, Jim?
Okay, well, my author website is peggylanders.com. So eventually you will probably see a book written under that name. It'll be me. But peggylanders.com, and that is my author site. That is where I list, you can get spoilers if you want to dig deep enough, artwork, you can get the behind the scenes, you can get motivation, stories, synopsis, characters, all sorts of things you need. The only thing you can't do there is buy the book. For right now, my book, without having a traditional publisher, you're going to have to find me online, Amazon, Google, other places where you can look electronically for those. Some books are softcover and ebooks, and some are actually include hardcover as well. So they're out there. You can do a lot of reading. PeggyLanders.com is a good place to go. A lot more coming with the First Responder. Again, this is the first book of a trilogy. More to come. More to come. Well, Kim, I thank you. You've been really awesome. And there's me hanging out in front of my bloody colored themed greenhouse with bodies. I won't always have this background there. And hopefully I look forward to doing some more videos and get you guys the message. Get the word out. Try James H. Summers today. Okay?